Hi, welcome back to Cheyenne, Wyoming Urban Gardener. This is part 2 of our garden tour for spring 2023. So let's get into it and see what all we have going on. Garden Zone 5A, 5B in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And this is part 2. So we have a bunch of containers here. These are a variety of things that we've either brought outside from inside. We've got a couple of hibiscus here. These hibiscus have struggled since we've gotten them. Last season they did really well, but they've gotten hit by a couple of hailstorms, and it just kind of they're rough. They're having a tough time of it. So we may get those transplanted, freshen up the soil a little bit, and see if that helps them to bounce back. So they've just been beat up a little bit. We've got some thyme. We've got 3 different types. We've got lemon thyme, English thyme, and just I think a regular type of thyme. And then we've got celosia over here. We've planted our planter here with oregano. And then over here we have some cilantro in this one. We'll see how that does in these containers. It's been a lot, I wouldn't say cooler, but wetter this season. So hopefully those will definitely do a lot better. We transplanted some parsley out of the garden and put it over here. It's a little wilty right now because it's trying to acclimate to being back in a container, so we'll see if that pops back up. And then we planted some white pumpkins here in this container and in this container as well. And then we have gotten some marjoram planted in this container. And then here is our 2 hibiscus that we brought outside that were overwintered, and they are doing fantastic. These big guys are doing just fine. So they have started to bounce out some more leaves, nice big leaves, and have started to bloom again. So you can see a beautiful bloom there. And the lemon tree is just getting huge at this point. Still haven't seen any blooms on it, so I'm hoping that it blooms at some point, but I just haven't seen any as yet. But we do have some, I believe, forget-me-nots that are coming up in this container because I had some last season. I kept mistakenly calling them snapdragons, but I don't think they're snapdragons. I think they're forget-me-nots. So we have a much wider section that we tilled up in the extended part of the garden. This is on the other side of the walkway on our front door. So we planted 5 basically leftover broccoli of the the purple sprouting broccoli. We planted those here. And then we planted 2 rows of Idaho potatoes that I had inside that had started sprouting like crazy. So we went ahead and planted those. We'll see how they do. They were organic potatoes, so I'm hoping that they don't have any of the inhibitors or anything on them. So we'll see if those bounce up and produce some potatoes for us. And then we've got some yellow straight neck squash in here. There's actually one more out there, but it had not came up yet, so I just went ahead and planted it with the whole container in there. And then we have some table acorn squash right here. And then we planted some red curry squash in the back. And then we have 3 hills here of different types of watermelon. We have blacktail watermelon, Klondike watermelon, and some sugar babies. And then we're going to plant the rest of this in Boston marrow and red curry squash, but I haven't gotten to it yet because it's just been too wet. But we did extend, as you can see, the width of this because we took out an iris bunch here. So we've been cleaning this up slowly, but we have it just about as much as we can because the rest of that is too shaded to try and plant in. So we're just going to do with what we have here, but it is a lot wider than it was. And then we have our 2 bunches of rhubarb here, one of which is going to seed, the other one is not. And then we have 3 red velvet or velvet queen sunflowers here, and then I planted a few more sunflowers in there as well, shorter varieties so that way they don't smother anything out. And then we picked up a white hibiscus the other day, and this one is blooming like crazy, and we're going to get this one transplanted into a bigger container. We do not have anything planted in this as yet, but we will be doing some different types of kales, some more Swiss chard, and a few more things in here, and radishes. But we did plant all along the edges here a bunch of flowers just different varieties of calendula, marigolds, things like that, all along the edge on this little area here. And then today I worked on doing the same thing, and I still have to get out the black fabric. There is landscape fabric under everything here, including the grass. So it is very difficult to get it up, but once we do, we just give it a toss. So we have all kinds of marigolds that we planted all along the edges here, and calendula, and all variety of bachelor buttons and stock, and just all kinds of different flowers all along the edge. We've been working on getting any grass in here out and any weeds. So we've just about got that conquered. So we have that different flowers planted all along the edges. And then we made some hills for different types of cucumbers in here, and more sunflowers and squashes. So like I said, we have more room for different types of squash than we've ever had before. So we have lots of different types of squash in here, anything from zucchini to gray stripes to Italian zucchini, and different cucumbers in here, the white wonders, white spine, national pickling, all kinds of varieties of cucumbers in here. And we got everything cleaned up around our strawberry bed that is in our converted kiddie pool here on the north side. And you can see the strawberries are slower here, but they are bouncing back. In fact, we've got a bloom in there, and we had some escape, and I'm just leaving them and let them do their thing. So we've got, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bunches that had rooted themselves last season in the soil, and we're just going to let it go. We're going to let it do its thing. And then we have lots of daylilies in here. We have black ones and red ones and peach ones and Asian ones, just all kinds of different things in here. And then we have our peony. And I think this peony is going to bloom this season because it has lots of little bloom heads on it. So let's hope for that. It's a lot bigger than it has ever been before. And this is its 3rd season. So hopefully we get that. And we've got some Boston marrow pumpkin seeds in here as well. And lots of sunflowers that we planted today. We've been slowly and surely getting this all cleaned up. Our rhododendron, unfortunately, looks like that it is on its last leg, but it's still alive, guys. It still has some stuff in here that's alive, and I'm going to put some acid on it so we can get it to bounce back a little bit more again. But unfortunately, it has struggled, and rhododendrons are just a thing in Wyoming that you really can't do because of the alkaline soil. They really love acid. So we've gotten in here and we've had to clean up a whole bunch of stuff here on the north side because it was just getting overgrown like crazy. Also, to extend more of the squash area, all along our fence going along the front of our house, this is actually really the side, we got in here and cleaned all of the edge of the fence out all the way through and ended up with 18 hills of varying cucumbers to pumpkins, the Boston marrow pumpkins, all along the fence. Plus we alternated it with sunflowers, so there should be sunflowers that will come up and bloom all along this fence. 18 hills of those guys. We're just going to let them run the entire length of the fence because that's what we do. So that is the garden tour for this season so far. Last shot's going to be some beautiful irises. It'll be blooming here in the next probably couple of weeks. There'll be yellow irises just blooming like crazy. You can see the bloom heads on them. And we had a lot of grass to clean out of here, and I still have a lot more to do. So slowly but surely we are getting things accomplished here. And we did get the Virginia creeper off of the fence last season. You can go back in videos and see that. It has bounced back a little bit, but nothing like it was. And we're just keeping it at bay. So you can see the fence is all nice and clean. So there we have it. That's the garden tour so far for spring 2023. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for notices on new videos as they come out. And we will see you in the next one.